The College Football Playoff Committee going to give you their third rankings tomorrow in between basketball games. Don't wait. You don't have to wait. We'll give you the rankings right now. We'll tell you what the playoff committee is going to do. We did this last week. We were 100% on the money. We're doing it again this week. 12 teams to go along with 12 questions from the man, the myth, the legend, producer of the Hard Count, best dressed man, and not just sports media, any media. He says jump. I say on who. It's the man, the myth, the legend. Again, double down on the man, the myth, the legend. Caden Smith, you know him as Kato. Kato, what's going on, baby? How we living?
Good. No one's getting jumped today by you, so we'll avoid that. But
okay.
I appreciate the loyalty, and I appreciate your efficiency with these rankings being predicted. Hopefully we can go 12 for 12 again.
Yeah, we'll try and keep a good thing going, man. But the one that I don't think will be debated at all, Ohio State beat the brakes off UCLA. There's not really much else needs to be said. Ohio State's going to be number one, Kato.
Yeah, man, another week, another big-time Ohio State win. You mentioned it, 48-10 over UCLA. JD, do you have any concerns about Carnell Tate missing a second game or Jeremiah Smith playing in some limited snaps? Or maybe was it good for some backups to get in even? Where do you weigh the experience of some of that depth versus missing two of your key pieces in the pass game specifically?
As long as they're ready for Michigan. Like if I'm Ryan Day, I'm saying go ahead, hit the Normatec boots, hit the cold tub. We'll let everybody else get reps this week. Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Julian Sainz doing his thing. Like, I'm not worried about anything until we play Michigan. When we play Michigan, as long as you're full go, I'm here for it. So I think as long as they're ready for that, you should be in good shape. But always nice to have the best player in college football 100% healthy, but not worried right now, Kato.
Yeah, I think they ran for like 6.7 yards a carry. Is really good. It's like the best anyone's run the ball against UCLA in a very long time. So I feel like that was kind of what they got out of it, is being able to lean into the run game. But maybe next week, like we've mentioned, love to see some of these other guys get involved. And I feel like if they would have ran the ball a little bit less, well, it might have forced Sayan's hand to maybe throw it more to a Brennan Ennis, to a Max Clare, but kind of limited on that. But got to thrive in the run game, which is another question mark for Ohio State. Another feather in the cap, I guess, for another week heading into the postseason, getting closer and closer to that.
And the thing too, Kato, like I don't know that it really matters who Julian Sayin is having available. I wasn't going to say throw the football to, but like at a place like Ohio State, your fourth stringer could start for a lot of the teams, honestly, even in this top 12. Like, people go to Ohio State, wait their turn, have breakout years, and it's like, yeah, because you go to Ohio State to play for Brian Hartline and to play with whoever's playing quarterback. So, while you'd like to have Jeremiah Smith, like I don't think they're going to be in that tricky of a position if they don't have either of those guys here.
Yeah, I mean, for the Michigan game, you need everyone. For the postseason, you need everyone, but for this next week, I mean, it's postseason. A lot of teams' postseasons have been defined by depth, and I think Ohio State throughout the season has had an opportunity to showcase their depth a lot by being up in these games. So, man, if they can combine what they've been getting from the top end of the roster to the middle of the roster and some of these blowouts, they'll be just as dangerous as their ranking says they are as they head into the postseason for sure.
Just to finish this camp out session on Ohio State really quick, dude, Brian Hartline's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like I know that Matt Patricia gets a lot of his flowers. He deserves them. But Brian Hartline being able to bring Julian Sayin along in the way that he has. Like, Julian Sayin deserves all the credit in the world because he's up there with Ty Simpson on, like, cyborg watch for me. Just how efficient he is going right place with the football and not making, bad plays, to put it simply. A lot of that, to me, has to go to Brian Hartline and having him set up for success and the schematics of it all, being able to, like we just said, bring him along in this certain part of the year to build his confidence and cut it loose. Like, I've just been so impressed with the maturation process Brian Hartline has overseen with, to my understanding, his first, like, true year as, like, the play caller in Columbus. I think it goes wildly under the radar.
Yeah, I think this is his first year being the true play caller. We all remember when Ryan Day gave up those duties. And I feel like he does get his respect for his ability to recruit receivers and develop receivers. Many people think he's the best just position coach when it comes to the receiver position across all of college football, which is impossible to argue against when you look at the track record he has. But very quietly, we talk about and gas up Julian Sayin. He's having an unreal season, especially with the completion percentage. And this is Brian Hartline probably not getting enough credit for that. The guy who is the wide receiver whisperer suddenly becoming a quarterback whisperer, and Julian Sainz playing the way he is. Now, Ryan Day probably obviously has a lot to do that. And I kept seeing on the sideline, Ryan Day was kind of giving it to Julian a couple of times when there's a read that didn't go right or a third down they didn't convert. He still completed like all of his passes. Like it's still what he does. But in the few incompletions he did have, Ryan Day found a time and a place to give Julian the business on the sideline. So man, with those two guys in his corner, if they can hopefully keep on to a Hartline there this offseason, his name's been in a lot of rumors. If he comes back, man, comes back, like Lord knows how long they're going to get with him. But this first year just being the foundation for him, not to think into next year too much, but man, it's going to get scary for sure if he keeps developing off of what he has this year.
Unbelievable. Like you just said, a first-year starting quarterback, redshirt freshman. Chip Kelly was the guy last year. Those are massive shoes to fill. He just won the national championship, and he walks in. And Julian Sayin, I'll say he's played better than Will Howard. That's not knocking Will Howard. It's just Julian Sayin and the juice that he brings downfield. It's been sensational. Birth certificate check on Julian Sayin. Like he did not look like he should be playing college football. Obviously, I'm not knocking the guy. I'm just saying he looks very young, dude. He looks like he's a high schooler out there toting the rock around.
Yeah, I feel like demoralizing quarterback play in order for a defender. Number one is having number 47 Bear Bachmeier just give it to your defense. That never feels good. And number two, just having a babyface assassin in Julian Sayin, looking like he just left high school prom, maybe even homecoming. Yeah, not a great look for a defense for sure. But those two guys and many others have been just on top of it this year. There's nothing you can do about it. No answers really.
Homecoming king Julian Sayin.
King Julian.
King Julian. I think he'll win the Heisman, man. I think he'll win the Heisman ultimately when it's all said and done. Currently, though, the Heisman frontrunner is Fernando Mendoza. I don't see a way where Indiana's not number 2 in these rankings, Kato, especially after A&M's lackluster first half. Probably gives the committee a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. Indiana at 2. I don't see a world where this isn't the case.
Yeah, similar to Indiana, JD, not many people talked about it, or similar to A&M, rather. Not a lot of people talked about the fact that they were like quietly only up 10-3 against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Then, obviously, they get it rolling, 31-10 win. Mendoza's stat line here is just insane. 22 for 24, 299 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's the first player to touch 30 touchdown passes this year. As you mentioned, the odds-on favorite, according to BetMGM, to win the Heisman. Would you give him the award right now, JD, if the season ended today?
It's a great question. I appreciate the idea of Fernando Mendoza being given the Heisman. Like, I appreciate the Gus Johnson voice crack call and all that, but I'm like, man, it's just November 15th. Like, we still got 2 more weeks in the season. We still got the Big Ten title game. Ari Washman tweeted this out. I think he's on the money. If you're a Heisman voter and you make your vote for the Heisman Trophy, which we're not Heisman voters, but if we were, we would wait until after the conference title games. Ari said if you do that, make your vote before the conference title games, you should be stripped of your vote, and it's a felony. And I'm with him, dude. So I love Mendoza. He could win the whole thing if they beat Ohio State, whole thing being the Heisman Trophy. But I'm just like, man, we've seen weird things happen these last 2 weeks far too many times for me to give him the trophy at this point. Where are you at on that, Kato?
Yeah, I think it's just a weird Heisman year, as we mentioned before. Like, there's the shoe-in quarterbacks that are playing good, great, even some, and just from an eye test perspective and what we have, like, there's no runaway front runner that we can, like, just say, like, hands down definitively this guy is the best player in the country with any of these quarterbacks. I feel like the one person we can say that about, though, is Jeremiah Smith. So that's who I'd vote for. I think, like, this award just needs to get back to giving it to the person who's just the best player in college football. And until you name me a better player than Jeremiah Smith, if you're drafting, you know what I mean, players, if we had to restart college football, this guy's going number 1. So unfortunately, he missed some time this weekend. Maybe that hurts his case. We'll see how he plays this weekend. Fernando's playing great. He's on an undefeated team. Eye test-wise, it's a lot of RPO stuff. He's 6'5". He's talented. It just doesn't – it's not oozing with the best player in the country to me. You know what I mean? And Sayin's playing well. Marcel Reed's playing well. Ty Simpson's playing well. But I feel like with none of those guys really gaining ground on another, I don't feel like any's having far and away a better or more consistent or jump-off-the-page season. I lean Jeremiah Smith, man. This cat's cold, and I think that there's not a better player than him in the country.
I think someone's going to boss him and just snag it during conference title weekend, whether it's Ty Simpson or Marcel Reed, Gunnar Stockton if they find their way in, but I think someone will grab a hold of it, man. Speaking of Marcel Reed, I think A&M's going to be at 3. I'm curious to hear your question on this, Kato, because I see them at look the way they looked against South Carolina in the first half, and I'm like, that team is going to fall outside of the top 3 here pretty quickly, and people are going to talk about them being fraudulent. And then I see the second half, and I'm like, that might be the best team in college football, not in Ohio State. So A&M at 3 is the right spot for them. I don't think they will jump Indiana after escaping death against South Carolina. But A&M at 3, Kato.
Yeah, it's going to be a two-part question. You mentioned it. Largest program history comeback that they've had at A&M, 31-30 win after being down 27 points. What was your biggest concern, JD, in the first half of that game, and what was your biggest positive takeaway from that second half?
It's funny because I think it's two sides of the same coin for me. My biggest concern in the first half was I was like, oh, this team has heard how good they are really since September of the Notre Dame game all the way up until now, and they've believed it. It's gotten into their psyche, and they're playing like it. Marcel Reed's throwing picks. We are doing a bunch of things that get you beat in an upset fashion, dropping passes, can't tackle. And so I was like, the psyche of A&M looking human-ish in that first half, equating to them getting beat the way they were getting beat in the first half was concerning. But then in the same way, Kato, the thing that impressed me the most was their ability to be like, okay, we're not that team anymore. Yeah. Oh, we have to play now? Oh, that's going to – okay, cool.
The game started. Yeah. That first half counted? Like amnesia, man.
I was kidding. You thought I was being serious? I was joking the whole time, dude. You really thought I was being serious? That's how it felt, dude. Being able to switch it, I thought that was hilarious. And A&M being able to do that, I think, is dangerous. It's like the movie Split. You ever see Split?
I actually haven't. It's a big blind spot for me, but I'm familiar. The dude has multiple personalities.
It's A&M.
One of them's really scary and starts like
yeah, exactly.
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it.
I was like, that's A&M.
Yeah, I really want to know what Elko said at halftime, because I think like what's scarier, if he like laid into them and got them right, and that's what they did, or if he was like, guys, like just be us, man. Like whatever the delta is of the halftime speech, it worked clearly. But, yeah, I think the concern for me is still, it might sound crazy, but Marcel Reed, man, like, he is great. He's electric. The ceiling is high. But we got to see that floor for the first time against South Carolina. I don't think they'll, like, look that bad. I think that's as bad as they can possibly look. It was, like, a combination of just careless and undisciplined, and it's just a perfect storm, and South Carolina took advantage of all that. But I think if A&M does get tripped up in the playoff, it's going to be making Marcel Reed a little uncomfortable because, again, like at its best, it's him scrambling, converting first downs, throwing amazing passes to amazing receivers. But sometimes he gets a little careless with it. He gets a little jittery, I think, in the pocket. And if there's some other defenses in the postseason and beyond that can give him some problems, I think that's like their low-key, their kryptonite is if you can make Marcel uncomfortable. Because their whole year they've been able to get away with it because there's so much surrounding him that's great. They can always run the ball. The receivers are consistent. The defense plays very complimentary, but when that is all out the window, that's when you need Marcel playing his best, and he did in the first half. Obviously, he takes care of business the second half, and if you just caught on those second half highlights, man, maybe he's the one that takes home the Heisman.
It's a wild time in college football. Yeah. Wild time in college football, but I'm with you, man. And if they do that against any of these teams on this list, maybe even including the G5 team, maybe you get beat. But if they're playing like that, they can probably – making good on the midseason prediction from our very own Caden Smith and probably winning the national championship. So we'll see. But A&M at 3. At number 4, they could even be ranked higher depending on how the committee really feels about it. But I think that the committee will put Georgia at 4. I think that's the right spot for them. Playing their best ball when it matters most, Cato. Just continuing to just ascend. Our Kirby and the boys. Dogs at 4 will be what we see on tomorrow's rankings.
Yeah, JD, I think from that game, the biggest takeaway for me is like Georgia excelled at all the things that Texas didn't. Like it felt like all of the small areas, the small margins, Georgia just dominated it. Fourth quarter, they were dominant. They had 21 points in the fourth quarter. 35-10 win over Texas. It featured 5 touchdowns from Gunnar Stockton, a surprise onside kick, just 1 penalty from the Dogs. How high is your trust in Georgia as a college football playoff contender?
I mean, it is through the roof right now.
That's why I asked this.
Through the roof, dude. You nailed it. Like the thing with Georgia that's interesting, I think we all forget it's a lot of first and second year players. Mm-hmm. Like 80% of this group is first and second year players. So going back to the point that you made, which I think is a great one, Texas wasn't really ready for the moment. Georgia clearly was. But it wasn't like Georgia has a bunch of dudes on that roster that have like started in SEC title games and played for national championships. Like, there's a lot of pups out there, dude. A lot of pups out there. And so the fact that these young bucks are looking so Kirby-ish with how they're operating, we talk about the traits of Kirby Smart and the just lack of flinching and the grit and all those things and the toughness, it's like that's a Kirby thing. That is a Kirby thing this team has bought into, and that is a dangerous thing for the rest of the college football world, especially with 14 pulling the trigger the way he's doing it right now, dude.
Yeah, it's weird. Like normally any situation you have to bet, it's hard to bet against Kirby. It's even harder to bet against Kirby historically when he's getting 22 guys drafted, like the team's oozing with talent. This year's team doesn't have that. They took their lumps early in the season playing a lot of close games, but still, like, deep down in their soul, they have that Kirby just dog to them, that identity. And that's how they're moving. And now they're to the point where they're not really putting themselves in any holes when you look at the month of November. I mentioned it before on a questions episode, and I'm doing it again now, man. If they're on a side of the bracket, I don't know if I'm not just putting them in that Final Four. Like, if you get Georgia's draw, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this team's hard to kill, and now they're looking like killers as well. Like, they're on the attack now. Like, they put themselves in a couple positions to be hunted in the second half and fourth quarters, and they had to pull their way out. Now they're calling onside kicks, and Kirby's on the sideline going crazy. Like, you don't want to be on the other side of that, man. Playoffs, regular season, don't matter. They've got it figured out. Their quarterback's underrated, and yeah, man, they're a scary, scary team for sure, just because they've taken that identity of their head coach.
Dude, we can't just breeze past that bar.
I tried to keep talking so we didn't have to.
I hope someone picks that up, puts it in a hype video.
Georgia football, get at me.
Hard to kill, but now they're killers as well. That is electrifying. One more thing I want to say before we move on. Georgia, this year compared to last year, how many times, Kato, did we come in here on a Sunday morning after Georgia looked lackluster, or dare I say lost the game, and we're like, yeah, they kind of beat themselves in some areas. Like, go back to the game they lost in the college football playoff to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We're drawing a personal foul penalty for a walk-on on the sideline, running into the ref, and it's like, what are we doing here? We lead the country in drops. We can't run the football. We're undisciplined with the turnovers at the quarterback. Like, there was just so much where you're like, Georgia's not really helping Georgia right now. Georgia does not beat Georgia this year, and that is a massive difference maker.
Yeah, you got to give Kirby credit for that, man. I mean, it was jarring to watch Marcus Freeman out-scheme Kirby, run some fakes, manage the clock really well at the end of the game, take some calculated risk, taking pages out of his book, essentially. Seems like they've leaned into that, double down to it this season, and, man, they're into form, man. Gunnar Stockton, is a foxhole guy, like, undoubtedly. Like, that's who you want to lead you into battle. After the game, they're asking a bunch of questions. He's, like, just chilling. Like, he's trying to be as boring as possible. He's like, oh, it's the team. Like, they're about their business over there, man. And, yeah, like I said before, scary team. One of the last teams I think you'd want to draw in the playoff for sure. And we'll see how they finish this thing, man. They're still not out of the SEC title hunt, technically. There's a lot of dominoes that still need to fall in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't envy anyone who has to work out the tiebreakers with how that whole thing is going to work out in the SEC or any conference for that matter. But the Big 12, probably not quite as much tiebreaker math when it comes to one of those teams being the Big 12 title game. That's Texas Tech. They're going to be at number 5 in this upcoming ranking, Kato. Not a lot to add there. They've looked complete. Baron Morton, you can hope, is going to get as healthy as possible before that playoff run starts. But Texas Tech's going to be at 5.
Yeah, you like to think Baron Morton's having a lot of milk, a lot of calcium, trying to keep that fractured leg intact as they try to make a postseason run. But you mentioned it. They blew out UCF. Most interesting storyline of the game for me was Jacob Rodriguez hitting the Heisman post for a second time now after they scored an offensive touchdown. He used to play quarterback. They gave him a 2-yard run. He punched it in. Along with that touchdown, he has 97 tackles, JD, 77 forced fumbles, one of them for a touchdown. 6 PBUs, 4 interceptions, and a sack. Pretty impressive year. I think he's the best defender in college football right now. Should he be in New York?
I think he has positioned himself for this to be a valid conversation. I don't think he'll be in New York because there's just too many quarterbacks that I think are blocking him. Like, I probably mentioned Trinidad Chambliss before I get to Jacob Rodriguez, but I'll say this. He's in my top 10 every week whenever I do like my on-3 Heisman ballot. I wonder how much he cares about that. I think he hits the Heisman pose almost like as a bit a little bit.
He's campaigning, man.
I feel like he's kind of doing it because he's getting asked to do it. Dude, I'd be here for it. I'll tell you that. I hope he's in New York, but I worry about the quarterback award of it all.
How do you feel about just like feeding like your defender goal line carries to try to like get him the Heisman? Like, does that?
I love it, dude.
Does it work though? Like, I don't know if that works. Like, what if if he scores like 5 more of these the rest of the year, like, or I think they have 1 game left, actually. They might have a bye. But, like, if the conference championship in their next game, he's punching in, like, several touchdowns. Is that all of a sudden going to be like, you know what? Like, we watched this whole year of college football, but, like, you were underrated and now you scored touchdowns. Like, we're going to give you the Heisman now. Like, I just wonder how it works for the psychology of the voters and if it like does any help.
This is so sad because I feel like I'm just taking a bat to Heisman voters as we have this discussion. I wonder if they're watching that much football. I wonder if it's as simple as linebacker scored 5 touchdowns the last 2 weeks of the season. Shoot, how many forced fumbles? How many hit the Heisman pose? I saw it on Sports Center once. Here's my vote. Like, I wonder if it's just that simple, and if it is, we need to rethink the Heisman Trophy voting. But I'd be here for Jacob Rodriguez.
It's a diverse voting pool from what I've heard. There's former Heisman winners, obviously. There's people who you kind of like, wait, that guy has a vote, that girl has a vote, and then there's people who obviously have a vote. So it's a big group. It's a diverse group. So hopefully, Jacob, I support you going to New York, man. Do your worst. I think as a former defensive player, we need to have each other's backs. So Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman. That's my campaign right there.
Guns up, man. Guns up. Well, unfortunately, like I mentioned, I hope it happens. I'm all the way here for it. But some quarterbacks could be blocking the guy. One of those quarterbacks could be Trinidad Chambliss. Ole Miss, I think, will stay behind Texas Tech. Good win over Florida, but I think they'll stay at number 6. Or stay behind Tech and be number 6 in tomorrow's rankings, Kato.
Yeah, another team that had a little bit of scaries. They're down 24-20 at halftime and for the entire third quarter. Like, this was a game, one of the better games of the year. But Kewan Lacey, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They take a 10-point win. 224 yards, 3 touchdowns for Lacey. Third in the FBS in rushing yards. First in touchdowns now. Is he the most underrated player in the country, JD? That's one part. And 2, how vital do you think he'll be in Ole Miss's postseason run they're trying to make here?
Without a doubt, one of, if not the most underrated players in college football. 2, extremely vital. I think what we've seen from Lane Kiffin, too, with the way he's dialed up his game plans with the RPO stuff they do, like, there's a world, too, depending on who they draw, where it's a bad weather game or it's a grudge match of sorts. You got to find a way to just control the clock. Like, Kewan Lacey's an absolute weapon. Like, Chambliss deserves all the love he's getting, but to be able to just hand the ball to Big Lacey and let him get downhill, let him work, let him wear on a team, I think it's going to be huge for them in the postseason, especially if they draw like a Notre Dame in that first round who's great in the front 7, or just naming random teams here in Alabama who hasn't been great against the run this year. Like, massive X factor for Ole Miss in this playoff run for them.
Yeah, I think he's also like very quietly a great asset to their defense. Like, if Trinidad's not feeling it, obviously for the offense it helps if you have your running back playing well, and even if you are feeling it, running back playing well keeps the defense on their toes as far as run pass. But if you need your defense to take a little breather, man, Lane Kiffin's offense is very high octane a lot of the time, and your defense is back on the field quickly. This guy, I feel like, just is a steady force for their pace of their play, and I don't even know who to compare him to. He's strong, but he's not the biggest, and just elusive, deceptively fast, man. He's like just enough to break those long runs, just strong enough to run people over. I really appreciate his game, and yeah, man, I'd love for him to have not just a breakout year that he's had, but a breakout postseason too. That would just be a fun, splashy pickup for Lane Kiffin yet again. A backfield of 2 transfers leading this thing with his quarterback and his running back.
I feel like I make a lot of Notre Dame comps on this show just because their run last year had so many like iconic pieces to it for playing for a national championship. But everybody in college football that didn't watch Notre Dame during the regular season got to see Jeremiah Love. Yeah. I wonder if it's the same thing with Kewan Lacey and Ole Miss. I think it's a great point.
That'd be really cool, man. That'd be really, really cool. Who you got at 7?
I got Oregon at 7. Man. I think that if they beat USC, obviously they will move up, but I think Oregon needs more respect. I think they'll be at 7 in the rankings. I think they're just fine with that.
Yeah, man, they get a little bit of rest here. They played on Friday. They waxed Minnesota. No rowing the boats there. Now they play USC, hosting them, ranked CFP level stakes matchup. What do you need to see from Oregon this Saturday to make you feel better about them making a run in the college football playoff?
I want to see Dante Moore do what he did early on in the season and do what he did against Minnesota and just like remind everyone, hey, no, I'm still one of the better quarterbacks in this conference. I feel like post-Indiana, we all saw him throw 2 picks, look a little bit rattled, and it was like, oh, okay, so this is who Dante Moore is. Oh, Penn State must not actually be that good. Okay, maybe Dante Moore is not all that. Like, he's still completing 73% of his throws. I think that him having a splashy, confidence-laden sort of game for him, getting everybody else more on the same page of who he is nationally, I think that would be big for him and also big for Oregon as they move into that game against Washington, ultimately a playoff run. So Dante Moore, big game. Would love to see that for him in that spot against USC.
Yeah, man, I think the elephant in the room for Oregon is that this offense hasn't achieved the same heights against ranked teams as non-ranked teams. I mean, Oregon playing Penn State, you have 17 points in regulation. Indiana, you only have 20 points. Iowa, you only have 18 points. Now you're playing a ranked team. Will USC, will they give? Will Oregon give? I think for both of those teams, a lot at stake, obviously. And if Adante Moore can help lead this offense, who's been running the ball very well, to complement them with a good pass game, maybe get some of his weapons back, I think doing it against a ranked team would be a great jumping off point for them. Even internally themselves, they understand that their offense can achieve these super high highs. We saw them lighting teams up in the beginning of the year. They need to, I think, offensively, Will Stein, everyone there, they need to dial up a game plan that does well in the box score and gives them confidence, because they will be playing a lot of other ranked teams, obviously, in that playoff.
Grab the Angelo. Get some momentum here, Duckies. Let's get rolling here a little bit, boys. Would love that for them. You know who rolled this past weekend, Kato, against Pitt? They didn't score 100, much to the chagrin of a one Pat Narduzzi. I think Notre Dame is going to be at 8. I could see a world where Oklahoma jumps them. I have a hard time seeing them drop behind Oklahoma after beating a ranked team by 22 points. So I'll go ahead and predict Notre Dame to be at 8 in this upcoming ranking, Kato.
Yeah, just a modest 37 points for Notre Dame, not the 100 that Pat Narduzzi was expecting. But I'm telling you, keep an eye out on Pitt. If they went out, Narduzzi made a deal with someone, man. I have a feeling in my gut. But nah, you mentioned it, Notre Dame. You predict the committee will have them here. But even in your nothing but ball rankings, you also have Notre Dame as the highest ranked 2-loss team. That's over teams like Bama, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Utah, Miami, etc. To you, what makes Notre Dame stand out from the rest of the other 2-loss teams, you'd say?
I feel the least amount of anxiety picking them. Does that make sense? I think there is so much volatility with some of the other teams. I have big questions about Oklahoma. Hey, is the offense going to be there? Hey, are you going to get carved up like you did against Ole Miss? Hey, for Alabama, we just saw a collection of errors that led to you getting beat for the second time this year. Texas, we keep going down the list here. I think Notre Dame, CJ Carr didn't look like he was just the most set in the world at quarterback with those 2 picks, but I think operationally he's really sound. I think Jeremiah Love is going to be a problem for anyone that plays him. I trust that defense. I sleep the best at night if I'm picking Notre Dame against a faceless opponent, Kato.
Yeah, and I feel like their strength is a lot of teams' weaknesses. I feel like there's a couple teams in here where we question how well they run the ball, and Notre Dame, that's going to be consistent. We saw Alabama get exposed for not being able to run the ball as well. We know Oklahoma has been a little bit inconsistent there. CJ Carr, if I had to be any quarterback of any of these teams, I want to be CJ Carr. I mean, you're handing off the ball to 2 studs, and it makes things so much easier in the pass game. I agree. I definitely think he has some room to grow, and I think quarterback play will be probably the difference for them, if we're being honest, because I think last year Riley Leonard was no maestro when it came to operating the offense in the passing game, but they got every last thing out of him in the run game. CJ doesn't have as much of that element, but we saw in the Miami game and a couple other spots he does have some stuff with his legs. So very interested to see. I think if every team complements each other well in the 2-loss category, offense, defense, special teams, all that, because their win against Pitt was complete. I mean, they're doing it in all 3 phases. Notre Dame, I think, is the scariest for sure.
I just think he knows what the heck is going on. You know what I'm saying? Julian Santa get the same vibe from him. You see a lot of times young quarterbacks, defender jumps off sides, it's a free play. We're all watching the game at home, seeing the broadcast, so we understand, free play, throw it. CJ Carr immediately, where's my tallest receiver? Where is he at? Hopefully he sees this too. We're down. He knows it's a free play. He takes the shot twice to Malachi Fields, twice as a touchdown. Just the awareness he has. It's not perfect, not a finished product, but I get excited about what that can be here in the postseason for the Irish, Kato.
Yeah, hopefully Tom Brady's prophecy's right for them, man. If CJ Carr is who Tom Brady said he'd be, find the Irish back in the national championship again.
All bets are off, man. All bets are off. Now, fighting to make the college football playoff these last 2 weeks, who I think you'll see at 9. We just mentioned them. I think it's Oklahoma. Win over Alabama will put them in front of the Crimson Tide, but Oklahoma, man, John Mateer and the boys, a little bit scrappy, a lot of it scrappy, finding a way in Tuscaloosa. I think they'll be rewarded with a number 9 ranking in this upcoming reveal.
Yeah, I think this is the most interesting spot to watch in the rankings, how much they move up Oklahoma, if maybe they impressed them a little bit more than we thought or less, and what they think of Alabama too. I think there's a lot of drama here at this spot, but you mentioned it, massive 23-21 win. at Alabama, keeps their playoff hopes alive. Wasn't perfect, but they forced turnovers. They lived in the backfield. The offense was just timely with the field position. What impressed you the most about Oklahoma's win at Alabama?
I think just the fact that they were able to win that style of ball against a team that doesn't really make those mistakes. Like I say win playing that style of ball. It was very obvious. If Oklahoma didn't get those turnovers, they'd probably lose the game.
Yeah.
Like Ty Simpson goes for over 300. They outgained them. They were better on third. Like there's all these things that favor Alabama in the box score. But Brent Venables and the boys got the turnovers. Got a punched out fumble on a punt return against Ryan Williams. And it's like, okay, this is how we win the game. So if you can do it against that team, I don't know who you can't do it against, is my way of thinking. Because Alabama's so efficient, they don't beat themselves more often than not. If you can win that way at their place, that to me just speaks volumes to what you're capable of.
Yeah, we talked about it off air, man. This is a team that the last 2 weeks has just put their head down, worked, grinded out 2 wins, knowing their back was against the wall on the road. Tennessee, Alabama. Doesn't get much bigger than that as far as road wins in the country, character-wise. But they still have room to improve, I think, in these box scores and how they play offensively. So these next 2 weeks, man, like if this team like all of a sudden like starts playing with that same mentality, but it starts to result in some more lopsided scores and they're looking like a real deal playoff team, not a team that lost their quarterback, was good in the beginning of the season, had a hiccup, and now they're like kind of back. Like if they can just do it these next 2 weeks and really put belt to cheeks, I think they're going to be a problem in the postseason, and I can't think of anything more exciting, if I'm being honest, than John Mateer in the playoff.
I just want to camp here for 2 more minutes when it comes to Oklahoma, because you made a great point about John Mateer. Him being in the playoff, doesn't it feel a little bit like they're one of those teams that if you get them in that field of 12, they'll find a way to unlock even like another gear? Because we're seeing them back against the wall. You got to beat Tennessee to stay alive. You got to beat Alabama to stay alive. It's elimination month for the Sooners, and they just keep on finding ways. I wonder if you give them just a quick breather during conference title weekend, get a chance to get that thumb even more right. We saw them off one bye week go beat Alabama. What if they get another bye week and you see them in the first round of the playoff? I'm waiting for the storm to start offensively and it to start raining again like it rained early on in the year. Like if we hadn't seen it, maybe I wouldn't expect it, but we saw it in the first part of the year. John Mateer was dropping dimes. The offense looked great, and we haven't seen it. They're still winning. I wonder if they get into the playoff, if that would show back up.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from the Michigan game for everyone was as long as this guy's at quarterback, Oklahoma has a chance. Like that was the big takeaway. And he was oozing with it. I mean, he made a throw in his own end zone that was just insane. And you're waiting to get that back. It's hard to get that back with a thumb injury, but it looks like this team has gotten that swagger back and has kind of put some belief in him. Hey, John, like we know your thumb wasn't right where we're supposed to be in our 2 losses, but like we have your back. And they've continued to have his back, and now he's continuing to get better, and it's all starting to culminate. Man, if he can get back to that guy we saw against Michigan where, yes, we do feel that way. He is that kind of player where get him in the playoff and just that's all we need. We just need him in the playoff and we feel good about our chances. He's slowly starting to return to that form, and it'd be really exciting these last 2 weeks if we saw him closer to that top of season form versus that mid-season form, because then all of a sudden he backs up that persona and that reputation he has on his team and in Norman and beyond that, hey, like, cool your team has this 5-star, is doing well efficiently, offensively, defensively, whatever, but like we have John Mateer. Like if they can get back to we have John Mateer mode, like this, whoever they get in the playoffs is going to be an exciting matchup.
We got this dude from Little Elm, Texas. It's going to be a G5 guy, an FCS guy. He gets the offer late from Washington State, pulls up to Oklahoma, and now he's getting buckets. The 12-team playoff was invented for TV money, but competitively for Oklahoma and teams like Oklahoma that get hot at the right time, scratch and claw and find a way into the dance. It's going to be awesome. I think they'll make it, and if they do make it, they are one of the most dangerous personalities, I think, in that first round. Kato, they just beat Alabama. I think Alabama's going to drop to 10, so they're not out of it. 10's kind of living on the edge there, but I think Bama's going to be in 10 with this committee's next rankings tomorrow night.
Yeah, they're on the losing side of that Oklahoma game, obviously. The second loss of the season. Ty Simpson, for the first time, felt like he was very much under duress at times. It was the first time that lack of running game has really caught up to them and bit them. JD, you know what the rest of the season looks like for Alabama. You know what the record is right now. We know what that last game looked like. How should Alabama fans feel this week and moving forward right now?
I think you feel upset you lost, obviously. I think the further you get from it, you're like, I think we handle losses pretty well. Last time we lost, we won 8 in a row. And so we know who our team is. We didn't have a bad game overall. We had bad turnovers, but like Oklahoma found a way to win that game. Alabama played well enough to win that game in their own right outside of those turnovers. So you don't want to like take moral victories. I wouldn't be that worried if I was Bama at 10, Kato. Just put us in that top 10, let us cook, and let's get to the playoff.
Yeah, it's just so fun to watch Alabama fans continue to just contextualize and just figure out their life post Saban. Like, that was like as good as it gets, guys. Like that is the peak of not just college football, but like a level of dominance we haven't seen across like all sports. Like, you have to get through your head, first of all, that like Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban, because no one is Nick Saban, so it's not going to be that standard. I think on top of that, Nick Saban left like with the NIL and all the changes and stuff. He left before the 12-team era and this NIL really starting to get going how it is now. I don't know if that's even achievable for anyone, not just Alabama, but like even with all the money in the world, I don't know if we're going to see this level of dominance along with a 12-team playoff to go through. So I think just the standard across college football, like, hey, like y'all are really good, and that just might be what it is. Like if you're undefeated like an A&M and Ohio State and Indiana, they're also really good. I think they also, quite frankly, just don't have the same schedule as some of these teams. Like to go undefeated in the modern day of college football, it's going to take a little luck, and you have to be really good. If Oregon plays Ohio State, or if they have to play Indiana, or if Alabama has to play A&M, like maybe we have similar records and it's a level playing field. But man, like Alabama fans, y'all are fine. Like y'all are still really, really good. And I think that learning now from this is the biggest thing. You've seen a team finally get the best of you post the Florida State game. And now you can go back to the drawing board, and Ryan Grubb, one of the most brilliant minds offensively in the country, has something to work on and tinker with and get this offense right and get Ty Simpson more comfortable for more teams that you'll have to play in the postseason that are like Oklahoma. So I'm excited for Alabama. I hope they learn from this and hopefully can get even more out of their quarterback and more out of a defense that played great.
New college football, old Bama, you have less good players. Those good players that were depth pieces are now other places.
Yeah.
You have to play, probably, conservatively speaking here, 1 to 2 more games to win a national championship. Like, there's a lot there. I think you're on the money, Kato. Sorry, you were going to say something else?
Yeah, I didn't mean to. I was going to apologize.
No,
I didn't mean to turn it into an entire Alabama state of college football side quest. But
I think it's fair.
Just one of their fan base, you know.
It's important.
We're thinking about you. We're worried about you, and we think you're fine. We think Alabama's fine. 10 is scary for Alabama. 10 is a scary number, I feel like, especially knowing that 11 and 12 is going to be an ACC and a G5. So just relax, Alabama. Do what you got to do. Fighting Jimmy Garoppolo's this weekend, and then on to the Iron Bowl.
I love that. Great poll with EIU. Yeah, Alabama, we're calibrating a little bit here, all right? We're calibrating. It's a new college football. It's going to take some time. It's a process here, but I'm with you, Kato. At number 11, I think BYU will be ranked here, but I think Miami will be the highest-ranked ACC team, so therefore they will be in the 11th spot if we're looking at this from a bracket perspective on tomorrow night's rankings.
Yeah, we'll see the bracket. There'll be an ACC team there. It'll probably be Miami. They handled NC State, but again, like they're still on the outside looking in of this ACC title game with 4 teams ahead of them in the standings. JD, they need a multitude of dominoes to fall and to win out to even consider themselves being in the conference title game. With that, plus the potential 2-loss landscape of some 10-2 teams, how likely do you think it is that Miami sneaks into the CFP as an at-large bid?
I think very unlikely. Like, Kato, honestly, I would prefer if on tomorrow night's ranking show they say Miami, number 11 seed, could still get in. There's never say never. College football is wild, but like in terms of how likely it is, probably not. Let's take a look at the ACC title race. Here's who's in contention to win the ACC and ultimately get one of those spots in the playoff. I would prefer that personally.
Yeah, I think with them, again, I thought it smelled a little funny when they got moved up so high last week for a win over Syracuse. Let's see. They moved up 3 spots, beating Syracuse.
Sure.
So maybe beating NC State, they can find another way to juice them up in these rankings. I think at the end of the day, they they already are ranked behind Notre Dame and they beat Notre Dame, I think it's over, man. Like, you can rank them as high as you want, but when a team you went head-to-head with is several spots ahead of you, I think we've told you and we're telling you that we think you're the best ACC team, but that you're not going to make it. It's almost like embarrassing, low-key. Like, if I'm a Miami fan, like, the higher they rank us, the worse I feel. Because it's, like, not a good feeling to know. The committee's just reminding you, hey, like, we all thought you were really good. We all still think you're good. We all think you're really talented. But, like, you lost those 2 games. Like, sorry, you don't control your own destiny. It's rough, man. It's a rough time in Coral Gables, I feel.
If I'm a Miami fan, I feel that way. Like, show me the ACC title race. If that's our ticket in, show us that and how we could get there. Don't tell me we're an at-large, quote-unquote, at-large bid, because this spot, we're not going to have an at-large path into the college football playoff, more likely than not, for the ACC. So we say all that, Kato, and then probably Miami gets in as an at-large bid, and that's just how this whole thing goes, I suppose. So, I mean, shoot, I don't know. But I think they'll be ranked, or seeded, rather, 11th in those rankings with the bracket. And then number 12, James Madison, I think, will be your G5 rep. So obviously, for those that are watching, they will not be ranked 12th, but they will be the highest-ranked G5 team, whether they're in the top 25 or not. I believe the committee had him in the top 20, or the AP poll, rather, had him in the top 25. I think James Madison will be seeded 12th, Cato, to round out tomorrow's predictions for the committee.
Yeah, they had a dominant win this weekend. We were not going to say the score of that game. We're not going to say who that game was against, but congrats to JMU.
Good for them.
They only have 1 loss. It's a good one to Louisville. They were tied in the fourth quarter of that game before Louisville answered and won that game. But, JD, the American Conference seems to have gotten a lot more attention throughout the season. North Texas is the only team left with 1 loss. The rest have several. Do you think that there's a universe where they would put an American team that won the conference that might have a worse record than James Madison in there ahead of James Madison, even if they have a 1 loss on their record for JMU?
What about Navy?
Hey.
Could Navy sneak in? Could Navy backdoor their way into this thing? Like, I'm genuinely asking. I don't know.
They can. The American's still wide open. The American is very ACC coded. There are like 4 teams that have 1 loss in the conference that are still sitting there, and we're all familiar with them. We're familiar with USF after their win. We're familiar with Memphis and Tulane. They're always on TV. North Texas has 1 loss. They're all in the mix. I'm curious if the committee, and this is going to sound crazy as the Sunbelt guy who wants JMU in here, obviously. I think in the past, the committee for the New Year's Six, for the Cotton Bowl, whatever it is, they kind of just look at the record and go. So I'm curious if they're going to stick with that and be like, okay, JMU 1 loss, American champ 2 losses. We're going to put JMU in. Or maybe they look and they're like, hey, like, we think the American's a better league. We know that they lost to 1 P5 and 1 to American team, but we're going to get a nod to this team. I'm curious if you just think that's on the table at all, because I think figuring out the best G5 team to play in a postseason against a bunch of juggernauts, I don't think it's as simple always as the record.
Everyone's talking about SEC bias, man. They don't understand the
American
real
bias.
culprit, AAC bias. Last time I checked, I think everyone on that committee is an American citizen. It's all, I'm just saying, it's all lining up. American citizen, American conference bias. We'll see. But maybe they save that card for a later ranking. I think JMU will be 12. But Kato,
so.
any parting shots here? Any thoughts as we wrap up this ranking prediction for this third reveal show in between basketball games tomorrow? Anything you want to get off your chest or just let the people know about before we conclude?
Calling my shot. There's going to be a lot of 10-2 teams, I think. When you look at the rest of the schedules and what we got going on, I'm already calling it. The dialogue for, like, why is this G5 team getting in? Why is this ACC champ? I think it's really about to pick up. Like, I think the amount of teams that are going to be good looking on the outside of this playoff, and I think with the G5 like slowly getting its way into the rankings, and with the ACC not being in the rankings but being like retroactively put in the bracket because they're going to have a champion, I think that's going to cause some fan bases in some particular parts of the country, when their team is on the outside of the playoff and they see that 10 and 11 is an ACC team and a G5 team, I think it's going to cause some outrage, and I'm going to be interested to see some of the dialogue, because I can already hear it now, man. When you have these big names and these big brands on the outside of the playoff, and inside the playoff is the little guy or an ACC that's been the Big 12 without good quarterback play this year, I think it's going to get loud. So curious what these next couple weeks look like as far as the outside of the playoff. But let's not forget, you can expand it to 16 teams, 20 teams. The teams on the outside are always going to be mad, no matter what you put it at. 4-team, 10-team, 20-team. Teams on the outside are always going to be mad, so let's just remember that. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to see how it all unfolds these next 2 weeks. Very exciting stuff, man, in college football.
I think you nailed it. It's about to get toxic real quick, real fast. Everyone thinks that the committee hates their team or that their logo is not shiny enough or pretty enough to lose the beauty contest. Is that true? I don't know if I'd go that far, but like you said, if they expand the playoff, we'll have anyone who's at the 17th spot upset and like they're getting jobbed. But it is what it is. Kato, phenomenal stuff on the ones, the twos, the mic, the questions, all that. For myself, J.D. PicKell, make sure you are subscribed. We're giving you the rankings. They're going to come out tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, these are going to be the rankings when they drop on Tuesday night. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.